What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video, another weekly outlook. As usual, we always start with the fundamentals. And yeah, we start with the fundamentals. We look at dollar pairs, we look at yen pairs, we look at basically every major pair, and we look at the potential opportunities for the coming week. So without further ado, let's get right into it now. Very interesting, right? Before we go into the news, now this is very important. So the Bank of Japan is finally close to raising interest rates. Now, interest rates, as you know, the higher interest rate is, the more attractive a currency is. And so if you look at the yen basket, I don't know if you can just open that very quickly. If you look at the yen basket, we've kind of been dumping. If you can look at this from the daily, actually, we've been dumping for a very long time. We've been in bearish order flows since about April. Yeah, and the bullish order flow from November till April. We've just been kind of pushing lower and lower, and I guess people are targeting this low now, potentially before a reversal. However, with that news, we could start to see a reversal from here, depending on when, obviously, they actually come through with that decision to raise the interest rates. Because as for now, it's just kind of speculation. It's a decent source, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. In terms of other news, we have inflation numbers for the US. We have core producer price inflation. We also have retail sales on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have Australian dollar consumer price consumer price inflation yearly, and then we have the cash rate. So the New Zealand dollar, they're expecting to cut rates again, probably to 2.25, which is very likely. And then after that, we don't really have much news until Friday, where we have a bit of not really big Canadian GDP news. So not that much news this week. We have a forecast statement. This may be very important, depending on, because the pound, Great Britain, they're trying to cut rates as well, right? So or rather, that's been the talk of the town, right? Like they're talking about cutting rates, which is why the pound has been so weak recently. So this could be very interesting, but other than that, I'm not really looking at these with any major concern. As usual, let's get into the dollar. What are we looking for on the dollar this week? So again, the dollar has just been pretty much pitch perfect price action, really. Like, it doesn't get much juicier than this. If I can get my path to, we took liquidity here, we swept this low, and ever since then we've been, high, low, high, low, high, low. I'm just going over swing structure, and we set a new low here, and then I'm looking for us to, my goal for this week was this black line. If you watch the weekly outlook, and as you can see, we liquidated it. So probably some short-term downside, possibly till the monthly open. So if we can tap into the monthly open, which is previous kind of support for this area, previous supply will now probably turn into demand, with the monthly open supporting it and continue to push the dollar higher. So that's kind of what I'm looking for this week. Same thing as last week. I'm waiting for the pullback, and I'm bullish. I'm just very bullish on the dollar. If we can look at some currencies that may coincide with that thinking. EURUSD so the euro has been really weak. It's kind of already made its move. I still have this black dotted line as my target. I missed this move because I really wanted to see this high get taken out. It didn't, and then it just kind of took off without me, and I missed out on this trade. So I'd like a bit of a retractment in line with the dollar, probably till the weekly open, and then just short this all the way till this low. That's kind of my goal right now. I want to have this low taken out. I think it's going to be taken out. And the key is just finding an entry that makes sense, right? Because that's a lot of pips. We're getting closer and closer. It's about 120 pips now. So yeah, just be looking for entries on that. Pound US, kind of the same thing. Pound is just very weak. I'll just continue to short this. So we took out these lows and we didn't rebound. So it shows us that we're in like bearish order flow for the foreseeable future. Probably the next target would be here, and then the yearly open. Obviously it's pretty far away, so it's not going to happen in a week or two, but I'd say probably short this from the monthly open. Obviously wait for confirmation. I prefer deeper pullback. I want to see at least some of these descending highs get taken. before I look for shorts on pound dollar. However, it could just start dumping from here because the pound is just so weak, and it's kind of hard to get an entry on a pair like this. So Aussie US, both pairs are relatively strong. We're kind of at the lows now, which is a very interesting area for Aussie dollar. I'm probably going to look for some longs because, as you can see, the lows have really been holding. We have taken liquidity here, so some short-term upside is almost guaranteed. How far, we don't know. I'd like to see this buy until the monthly open. So like these lows are gone. We've swapped the lows. This is actually a good setup for longs, honestly. Like, it's in a very good area of demand. I'll probably have to go to the left and see where I'm putting my stop loss. Probably somewhere there, because this low should be protected, and then we can look for buys till the monthly, or we can already take this as a liquidity sweep and then just put the stop loss under there, because as you can see, we've already swept the lows, right? And then we've closed basically within the lows. So we swept the lows and we kind of had a V-shaped reversal. Maybe if you can see it more clearly on like a 30-minute, right? So we took the lows, and then this was our fractal high, and we are attempting to close above these highs, which I think we will. So I think Aussie US, I'm looking for longs next week in short. USD CAD, I took a position on this on one of my accounts. I took it right here, right? This is a really good trade. I think I took it on the hourly. So I had a setup like this, I know, crazy, right on the break here, and then I had my stop loss over here because it took out all these lows, and I bought to like 413. Literally, once it started to retract, I closed it. So I had something like this. I didn't take it on my main account because it was a bit too tight of a stop loss, but obviously I wish I did, and it went very well, right? Next we can look at NZD. Looking for longs on this, probably from the monthly or the 3 monthly. Also, this area of demand, so this entire sell before the buy, we're currently in that demand, could help fuel price up actually. And so I'll just be keeping a very, very close eye on this, because New Zealand's about to cut rates, the Aussie has been kind of strong, and yeah, I'm looking for upside. Like, I'm really looking for upside here. So it's just a matter of keeping an eye on what's going on here. Aussie CAD, very choppy, very, very choppy. We did take liquidity, looks like, yeah. So we swept pretty much all these lows over here, and yeah, maybe some short-term upside. I don't really like it though. It's a bit choppy to me, but if it's just range trading, honestly, especially if you love trading ranges, then you just bring in your fib. Where's your fib? You bring in your fib pretty much from down here, right? You can kind of draw it from here to kind of like the top of the range, and we're gonna buy below the point. Hold on, I wanna buy below the 0.618 and then sell above the 0.382, and as you can see, yeah. So it does make sense to buy from here, and I'll definitely be looking at buys because we have taken the lows and we haven't really broken the fractal high yet. So it's not an A+ setup, but to me it looks good for further longs, at least till this area of supply and the monthly open, and you know, just because that's how you trade ranges, right? So yeah, good opportunities this week actually. So odd CAD, odd NZD, I'd be on the lookout for both of those too. What's it at now? 910, 906. Yeah, I like that trade. Moving on to the yen pair. So we just talked about the yen recently. So the yen, we could have a pullback, especially that news coming in. I don't know how reliable it is. We'll only tell once the market opens. But obviously a bit of a retractment. I mean, it could sell off at any point. Like if you look at the price action on the yen recently, it could sell off at any point. So obviously here was a beautiful tap into the yearly open. And then here we don't really tap into anything. I mean, we do take out these highs and then we just continue to sell off. And here we tap into the monthly open and continue to sell off. So probably we liquidate the weekly open and then wait for a V-shaped reversal. That would kind of be my move on the yen. In terms of how I can apply that, I did take a win last week. This is the one I took last week because last week was pretty rough. Yeah, so I took a win on this. And thank the Lord I closed this because my goodness, this would have been painful. So yeah, I closed at about 102.2. Yeah, I actually closed at 102.4. For those of you in the group, it was a very tight call. And now what we're seeing here is a pullback, and we've taken liquidity, which is beautiful. We've swept pretty much all these lows, and it does look good for some upside. So I'll wait for the yen basket to align, probably a bit of a pullback, and I'm just going to look to push this further. So this week, Aussie yen, Aussie CAD, Aussie NZD, at least one of them. I want to be at least one of them because I don't want to miss out on all. Possibly two, depending on what opportunities are presented, but I'm trying to look at this to the upside because the technical analysis, like obviously we're very bullish. I don't need to go and look at this chart from a higher time frame because we look at this every week, so we know we're very bullish. And it's just a matter of liquidity and then waiting for the move up. Right here we take out liquidity, we get the move up. Right here we take liquidity, we take out this low, take liquidity, we get the move up. And now here, same thing, we've taken out these lows and it almost looks good for buying already. Like, we just have to see how the market opens. But if we can close above these highs, then now we can start to look for long. Or you could just enter aggressively here, put your stop loss underneath the liquidity sweep, this liquidity sweep over here, and then just long it further into the upside. But I wouldn't do that because, yeah, the yen it's oversold, and you expect a correction at any time. Yeah, Swiss yen. Swiss yen, we kind of broke into the downside. This was a trade I wanted to take, but I missed it. Would have probably hit TP. It looks like we're pushing lower, so this is not a liquidity sweep because we swept it and now we've closed underneath it. So I think we could take out probably this low, maybe this low. Probably, if we tap into the monthly open, I'll be longing this to the moon. Like, I can tell you that much. If we can get to the monthly open, I don't think we will because it's pretty far. But if we do, I'll be longing this to the upside because it looks very clean. In my opinion, it looks very clean. Just based on Swiss, Swiss yen is like the gold of currencies. You all know how I feel about Swiss yen. So I'd probably wait for this to tap into the monthly open. And then once it does, then I'll probably look to long it or just wait for any of these liquidity points to get taken. So we have this one, which is already taken. We have this next one. And then we have this one here. So if any of these can get taken, then we wait for the V-shaped reversal and we buy in. USD yen, I'm pretty sure sold off pretty heavily. So yeah, we tapped into the yearly open, liquidated it, and now we're just kind of seeing a retractment. So yeah, just waiting for retractments on these and then picking the best one. I don't think I need to go through all of them because it's kind of the same thing. They've made their moves. They're currently like halfway through retracing. Obviously the yen is so weak it could take off at any single time, and that's just the reality. Here is probably in a better position. We have some form of demand here, but I think this is fake demand because it's just trendline liquidity. So I want a deeper retraction on that before looking for more longs. And yeah, now let's get into the very interesting pairs of the week. The Chf Pairs, right? So I am looking for longs on all of these. I don't know what setup was this. When did I take this? Yeah, I took this a while ago. Had me confused there for a second. So Aussie Swiss, as you can see, high, low, high, low. I mean, you get the point. I will be waiting to see if we can take out this high, right? Because right now, as we can see, the highs are very protected. So the highs are holding pretty steady. Well, you could say we took out the high here, right? So, and then now we're kind of making a retractment. I would love, like if this interacts with the monthly and the 3 monthly, I will just short it immediately. I won't even wait for confirmation at all. If this interacts with the monthly and the 3 monthly, I'm putting my stop loss safely above these highs, right? Above the final high there, and I'm shorting this to the ground. Let me just be honest with you. And I can say this for basically every CHF pair because every Swiss pair has made a form of a retracement. Now look at this. So like they're all in like perfect position to short. So it's just a matter of not missing out on these trades. I have to get myself involved in at least two. Can we take out this high? The monthly open is acting as a resistance here. So I'm gonna look for shorts on these. The wiser thing would obviously to wait for this fractal low to go and wait for a retracement. But with this yen pairs, you don't really get that. Like when you sell very quickly, right? Like it happens extremely quick. Like the buying is usually slow, so the buying takes forever. Look at that. And then when it sells really quickly. And then the buying takes forever. Like that's a trick. If you're trading Swiss, like you have to know what kind of pair. You have to know how currencies. That's why I like trading all currencies, because every currency kind of moves different. And so you I tweak my strategy just a bit based on the currency I'm trading. And we can see that with the Swiss franc, it's the same thing. We have small buying, it's low. Like look at this. So we buy from 3rd of March till literally the 3rd of April. A whole month of buying, and we sell off in like 5 days. Really? Yeah, about 5 days. So, and that's how it is. And here, same thing. Like basically you wait for a setup for a month, a month, 6 weeks, and then it sells off. And so this can happen here. We could stay here forever, but you always want to be ready for when the sell-off actually happens. And so because these highs are strong right now you could just short this immediately. Like that's how it's in a really good position. You could really take something like this above this high, because this high took out this high, so this is a strong high, and you could just short this for a new low for about a 2.7 return. So kind of my thing with all the Swiss franc pairs, and these are the three I'm really looking at. Okay, mainly NZD and the one we just looked at, CAD, right? Because they're all in a great position. Here's a position I wanted to take as well. Kind of the same thing. This high is strong. You could literally just short this right here. Put your stop loss above this high and just short it to the ground. Obviously, it could liquidate you. It's not 100% guaranteed, but if we're just following basic order flow, it looks good for some downside, especially the New Zealand dollar set to cut the rates, which is just going to continue to weaken the currency. Yeah, I think that's the last pair. So now we'll go to the European pairs. Let's look at Euro Pound to begin with. So with Euro Pound, this was a position I closed at break even because it bought up and just started dancing around here. So I pretty much just closed this at break even. But as you can see, order flow is holding. We have these lows being protected. The monthly open is here, so it does look good for some upside. It was just really slow. If I was to do it, however, this is liquidity, so we could come and swipe. It would make more sense to swipe all this liquidity and then look for upside, or you could just follow basic order flow and yeah, let's just stop over here right underneath these lows and just continue to target a new high, right? Because that's kind of what the order flow is showing us right now. So you can kind of see the same thing here, right? So we have taps and then and if you can go back, you can kind of see the same thing here as well. Look at that. So in terms of Euro Pound, it's really good at kind of respecting structure. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for on Euro Pound. In terms of Euro CAD, kind of ranging. I've been trying to get positions in this for so long, but it's just really slow. It's not really giving me anything I want. The lows are holding, but it's not really going anywhere, so not really interesting. Same with GCAD. Kind of the same thing here, where you're kind of stuck in a range. Both currencies are relatively weak, so not really much to trade here. I mean, you could range trade it and wait for one of these highs to go and short it back into the downside. You could, but yeah, I think the European pairs are not really my cup of tea right now. There was a time earlier, a few months ago, where things were just going really good. Euro-AUD, the Australian dollar is a bit strong, so that's why I'm not really looking to long this, but simply from a range trade, like it does make sense, because as you can see, if you could just put a trend line here, right? Your trend line is kind of holding, right? So you could continue to just wait for a trend line touch and then continue to long it, and and wait for a liquidation event, because here we didn't even liquidate. Okay, we did take out these lows, we didn't take out this low, but it was enough to fuel the next move up. We're obviously getting into an area of supply, so obviously be careful. GA, we had a position on this. I closed it at break even again. We were in profit. Like, I held this down to like here, and then it just came and took us out of break even. Now it does really look good for short side, for some downside, because we've liquidated these highs and we've tapped into this supply zone. So now I just want to look at the 15-minute, not really a market open, but I want to start seeing some fractal breaks. And if you can get a fractal break and not a liquidity sweep, because we could sweep all these highs and just keep going up. If we can get at least a 1 hour closure there, then I'll look for some shorts. But until then, I'm not really interested in GA, but some shorts do make sense. GN. GN is kind of at the top. Some short-term downside. I don't think there's anything for me next week on this. I think it's made its move. It's swing bullish. Everything's bullish right now. But the pound is relatively weak, and so we're also at the top. So I'm expecting some slow selling and then some initial bang again. So yeah, I'm not really looking for anything on that. And Euro NZD, I don't think we looked at Euro NZD. Yeah, nothing for me here either. We're making a retractment. We did take out all these lows, so you'd imagine price will tap into this demand zone and then continue to shoot up, or come down here, maybe take out this low and continue to shoot up. It does look good for upside. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on all these pairs. Euro NZD maybe. Out of all the European pairs I've mentioned, maybe Euro NZD. And yeah, gold has been ranging. Gold, the monthly open again, acting as support, and I'd love to see this just go up. I think gold it's ready. I think it's ready. We've taken some liquidity. We did have a fractal break here, and now we're kind of back in the demand zone. It has been slow, I know, but it does look ready to finally push up, and I'd be surprised. Honestly, I'd be surprised for you gold traders if you're in gold buys and you don't get paid this week. You should get paid this week. Lastly, Bitcoin. This is what we were expecting. The yearly open to do something. It did absolutely nothing. So yeah, the stock market is currently crashing, right? We're down to 84,000, but Bitcoin is just selling off like crazy. There's a lot about this, but this is not the video for that. I mean, if you've been reading and seeing what's going on in the stock market, you can kind of see this across a variety of different pairs. I don't know how Ethereum is doing. Let's look at Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum is also tank as well. So yes, the stock market is just pretty much crashing. People are just selling and liquidating the assets. So yep, that's gonna do it for this week. I wish you guys a profitable, pipful trading week, and I'll see you guys next week.